know what that means. Football's back. And this is the Road to the Show Power Rankings Week 1. I think I talked to a couple of you guys. I was going to try to do this year. Really excited for the first edition. If you guys like it, I'll have some more for you each week. I have the top 10 for everybody. I'm going to roll with the name of each team. We're going to get the record, and then we're going to get a couple players I thought were really fantastic or not quite as fantastic in Week 1. So let's get rolling with number 10. That's going to be Carry On Wayward Son. Adam and I had a little bit of a chat today. Tough Week 1 for him, but he had a lot of things, a lot of good matchups this week, so I think some good things are coming for Adam. He's 0-1, but Jared Goff's going to be at home. He's a lot better at home. I think he's going to have a good week for Adam, and you know how much he loves John Brown. So John Brown might be getting a start for him. John Brown's been fantastic. He's going to be good in that Bills offense, so excited where that season's going to go for Adam. Brings me to number 9, the NFL All-Stars, also starting the year 0-1. They are going to be without Tyreek Hill, so it's going to be a tough going here for a couple weeks, but they do have Larry Fitzgerald and Deshaun Jackson, so a little bit of help at that wide receiver position. Some guys that are really good in Week 1, and I think you're going to have good seasons for them. Bring us to number 8. That's the Singapore Sea Turtles, also 0-1. Big Chrissy D. He discovered Chris Carson, and Chris Carson is a beast, y'all. Chris Carson can run that rock. He can run the tote. Love what Chris Carson can do. And he's going to be a big part of that Seattle offense all year. And then one of Chris's keeper, Drew Brees. That motherfucker is like 58 years old, but he can still sling the rock. That Saints offense looking great. He got them in the position to win that ball game. Michael Thomas is a monster, and that's going to be a great connection all year at Drew Brees and Michael Thomas, and Chris is going to get half of that with Drew Brees. Leads me to number 7. That's going to be Ligma. They started season 1-0. They have Pat Mahomes, so that'll give you a couple wins just with that. Mahomes is great, of course, but Josh Jacobs, also a guy I really, really like. Looked fantastic in that Oakland offense. Big snag for Miguel in the draft. I think he's going to be great this year for the Raiders. And I know he's a Raider, but he can ball, guys. He was not utilized at Alabama, but he's going to be utilized by the Raiders and John Gruden this year. Leads me to number 6, new to the league. Welcome, Jeremy Kaufman, Cobra Kyler. He started the year 1-0. He looked real good. He has Michael Thomas, like I mentioned. He is fantastic. A lot of receptions for big can't guard Mike. Travis Kelce had an okay Week 1. You're going to expect more out of him without Tyreek Hill moving forward. So good spot for Cobra Kyler to be. You don't want to see a Chief go down in Tyreek Hill, but that's going to be more targets for Travis Kelce, possibly Mecole Hardman. You got Sammy Watkins, Denard Robinson, a lot of guys that could really do some things for the Chiefs. That leads me to our number 5. That's the Aramark Avengers. They did start the year 0-1. So a little bit of a tough start for Robbie Ray, but he is always playing well by the end of the season, so you got to watch out for the Aramark Avengers. He has Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is a bona fide superstar for the Indianapolis Colts. You have Devontae Adams as well. You know how much he loves Adams. He loves Adams too much in my opinion, but I probably love OBJ too much in his opinion. So Devontae Adams hoping to get back on track after a tough Week 1 against a tough Bears defense. And then after that, we have the number 4 team. That's going to be Rack 'em Up. That is Mark, my roommate. He could come through the door at any time because he's just getting off work because it is right past 5 p.m. So if he does, say hello to Mark. But Rack 'em Up starting the year 0-1. He has Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz is in for a big year, y'all. And he was kind of a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, but I think he's going to have a really good year for the Eagles. He also has Tyrell Williams, a guy that is probably going to be number 1. For the Chargers. He looked, for the Raiders, the former Charger. He looked really good. Without Antonio Brown, he's going to take over the reins there. Really like what he's going to be doing in Oakland this year. That leads me to number 3, to Kareem Lady Hunters. That's actually who I play this week. Kareem's Lady Hunters had a really good week. They really whooped up on the Singapore Sea Turtles. But, I mean, the Sea Turtles are going to be coming back up. Can't ever put the Sea Turtles down. But big week for the Lady Hunters. Antonio Brown's going to make his debut maybe this week. I don't know. The saga continues. We're straight out of a Star Wars film, man. I think this thing's going to have 9 parts. Love watching it, but would hate it if Antonio was on my team. But Antonio will never be on my team because I would not invite him over to dinner. But the Kareem Lady Hunters love him, and maybe it's going to have a big year for them. He also has Sammy Watkins, and I hope maybe you can bench him this week. That'd be great against me. I would really appreciate that, but that's probably not going to happen. Leaves me in number 2. That is myself. I had a pretty good week last week. I enjoyed what the guys put together. I want to talk a little bit about Austin Eckler. He's a guy that I picked up in a couple leagues, and I really enjoy what he's doing. He might be running back 1 by the end of the year, but he's definitely running back 2. He is locked in the Chargers offense. Game script does not matter for Eckler. He's going to be there for dump offs, going to be there for rushes. Really like what Austin's been putting together. Russell Wilson, another one of my guys. He is my starting QB. Really nervous about it because the volume's not going to be there. It's not going to be there all year because of Chris Carson's bitch ass. But Russ Wilson can really sling that rock around in his limited time. So he's going to throw a lot of touchdowns, a lot of long passes to be fantasy relevant. And that's kind of what I'm going to be holding on to all year. And that leads us to number 1, brand new to the league this year. And he's number 1 because his team is awesome. That's going to be Pow Pow, Big O. Ov is 1-0 to start the year. He had Kamara and Hopkins as his keepers, and Kamara and Hopkins are good. They both did what they had to do. They're going to have even bigger games than what they had in week 1, but week 1, in my opinion, might even be kind of a floor for those guys. Those guys are so good. Multiple touchdowns for Hopkins. Kamara was a big part of that New Orleans offense. They are using him more. They even used him to run the ball out a little bit, something that Mark Ingram did a lot last year. And they thought Latavius Murray would do, but Kamara was in there at the end of the game whenever the Saints were looking to run some clock off before Deshaun Watson was Superman, and then Drew Brees was even more Superman. What a great game that was on Monday night. So Kamara and Hopkins, and I also wanted to touch on Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, a fantastic start to the season for the Giants. I think he's going to be the main pass catcher in New York, so that's a great pick by Pow Pow, Big Ovi. So that's it. Top 10 goes Pow Pow, Green Eggs and Beckham, Kareem's Lady Hunters, Rack 'em Up, Aramark Avengers at 5, Cobra Kyler at 6, Ligma at 7, Singapore Sea Turtles at 8, NFL All-Stars at 9, and Carry On Wayward Son at 10. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to try to have this every week for you. I hope you guys like it. If you do, then there will be more and more each week. That's it. The commish signing off. Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books. Good luck, everybody, in week 2.